Hi, my name is Matt, and this is my final presentation of the simulation results from the MIT Project Management Simulator. Overview for this assignment, I have, the outline is the overview. We'll go through each of my 5 simulations that I ran with an emphasis on the 5th and final simulation. I'll go over my lessons learned, and then we'll talk about, then I'll get my references. Overview. Like I said, there are 5 runs that I did, starting with the baseline of not even finishing and getting fired, up to run 5 where I actually made a profitable product, even though not quite meeting all the goals. All right, so simulation number 1, like I said, I got fired on this one. This was more of a guess and check. I focused on budget and quality. This led to going way over time and completely missing the scope. I fell behind in this simulation because I was overcorrecting all the way through, trying to adapt to what was happening instead of building a plan on this one. I implemented some of the changes. I didn't know how many I wanted to do, so there's some, but not enough. Lessons learned on the next one, I decided I'm just going to focus on manpower to understand the balancing on that one. Here's an ugly map of everything. You can see my quality at the end there. I went to like no quality and just progress to try to get through it, and you can see my workforce is extremely low. Cool, simulation 2, I didn't meet expectations. It was another failure, but I didn't get fired this time. I actually finished the project. I stayed under budget for this one and focused on manpower. I was still overcorrecting. I didn't have a plan, and I wasn't staying ahead of the project, leading to us going way over the timeline. And again, I also failed to incorporate changes, or enough changes. And that's going to be a theme going through here. But there were also way too many defects. Therefore, I failed at making a viable or a marketable product. Lessons learned on this one is to slowly scale up manpower as the project progresses and add a 2-week buffer. So we can see right here, I've started to come up with a semblance of the start of a plan, but still no plan. Here you can see my workforce a little bit higher. You can see A got cut out completely, 65 people. And then again, you can see I was trying to play catch up with my management pressure, going more towards progress and quality rolling back, which again led to a poor product being pushed out. Simulation 3, even though I didn't meet all my goals this time, the scaling manpower really seemed to help. However, I was solely focused on manpower and failed to incorporate changes once again. And quality was poor. I also adjusted, or the quality was poor because I overcorrected again to get ahead of the timeline. I also noticed I cut phase A manpower too soon, which caused another significant dip in quality, so I had overcorrections again. Lessons learned is we had to adjust manpower more consistently and not just eliminate phase A completely. There we go. All right, simulation 4. This is the first time I actually had a game plan built. We'll go over the game plan here. The strategy was to focus on having a finished product on time with an emphasis on manpower. Again, you can see here that I said finished product, not a quality product. So in order to get to that goal, I decided that if I was on time in phase A, I'd add 5 to phase Bravo. If I was behind, I'd add 5 to phase A. And then when phase A is complete, I reduce it down to 5 and add the remaining manpower to phase B. Again, you'll notice I'm not paying attention to quality here. Then when in phase B, I'd add 10% to new features, so I'd start keeping up with the changes. And then when we were less than 20 weeks out from the completion, I'd add 5% to accelerated work if we had fallen behind. This one I figured out my manpower scaling, and I finished the project ahead of schedule, which still led to a complete failure here. So you guys fail. Scope is off. Cool. Lessons learned on this one was I didn't adapt to the changes, of course. So the next iteration, I'm going to work on that in my plan. And I worked the team too hard. I kept pressure too high and the quality low. So, anyways, having a plan really helped on this one. Still wasn't adapting to the changes. Worked the team too hard. Yep. And I got emails about the staff not being happy. So I need to work on keeping that neutral. So this is my change. I'm going to change my plan with the next iteration. I'm focused more on phase A. I'm going to start ramping up for phase B in week 5 to get the team for phase B prepared. And I'll keep pressure on quality, or I'll keep the pressure on quality. And then I'm also going to start to reduce staff as we get closer to the end of the project to keep up with budgetary constraints. And I'm going to slowly adapt and incorporate changes into the next one. The hard part was manpower. Now to just balance that out with quality and to incorporate changes to keep my product viable in the market. All right, here's my 5th and final attempt. So week 5, we had an email of competitors adding new features. So I added 5% to add new features to my product. Then I started building manpower, like I said in my plan, to phase B. All right. Week 8, as you can see, I've been adding 5 people per week to phase B, and I received an email congratulating me for the team's work. So everything's on track. Everything's going well so far. All right. Week 11, the preliminary design review went well. So it was time to start focusing on phase B without leaving phase A too early. But you can see here I started focusing too much on phase B, and we see phase A starts to suffer. I noticed that the rework rate was low and everything is looking good. However, my estimated completion week now is all the way out to 139 weeks. So I dropped that off my cross check. So I started ramping up to catch up. Again, we're playing catch up here and not staying ahead of the game. So I boosted phase A to 65 people to try to get through phase A a little bit quicker to push into phase B. It worked. Phase A is almost complete, and the estimated completion has come down to 80 weeks. I received an email at this point that I had made a cohesive team and that everything was looking good. It's time to start moving from A to B. But here you'll see the known rework rate is starting to go up, which should have been a warning sign. And then here it is, week 22, final design review didn't go well. There's too many defects. The quality was set to high, and we were on budget. So the only thing I could think to do was increase my workforce for B, and now start to decrease A more significantly, which I think was a failure. I should have kept A higher still. And then week 25, everything's looking good so far. So we're back on schedule. You can see we're even a week early now, and I've reduced phase A workforce to just 5 people, and I start looking at phase B workforce, and I boost them up pretty high. I'm at 175 here. Warning sign was the budget was starting to rise rapidly, which made me a little bit nervous. But I pushed it to the end. There wasn't much more I could do, so nothing significant really happened between week 25. We did go overtime, and that was just because the budget, I rolled back the personnel too quickly, and we didn't have the guys going forward. So I learned from this one that going over budget wasn't the worst thing if I produce a viable product that does well in the market and make up for it in the long run with it. Little mistake here was my proposed late changes stayed way too low. I don't know what happened with that. I tried to incorporate the new changes. I guess I just didn't keep up with it like I had planned or had wanted to. Cool. So lessons learned from this. Looking back, the biggest turning point through this project was when I started working with a structured plan. Then I started making progress. This course, throughout the 6 weeks, has emphasized the importance of planning, and this exercise just really reinforced just how critical that is. Without a plan, I was consistently overreacting instead of managing. Once I had a strategy, I could make intentional decisions rather than just correcting mistakes as I went. Another major lesson learned was the importance of understanding the project's scope. I don't think I fully understood the project's scope on this one. Early on, I had fully grasped what was needed to deliver, so I focused on just individual metrics such as budget, manpower, quality, without seeing how they really all connected together. Lack of understanding led to my failures. Once I started considering the bigger picture on how the time, budget, manpower, quality, and market adaptability all work together, I was really able to improve and started to improve my results significantly. Key takeaways from this was having a structured plan is essential, but you still have to build in room for flexibility. Understanding scope is very important, and it's just as important as managing the execution. Time, budget, manpower, quality, and market adaptability must be balanced to succeed. Anyways, this exercise was a great way to see how the real-world project management challenges unfolded. If I was to run this again, I'd refine my plan even further. I'd keep the manpower the way it was. I wouldn't be afraid of going over budget the next time, and I would focus on making the changes without scope creep getting in there and drawing me off. So I'd have to balance a little bit better on the changes I would take in. That change management is super important, and coming up with a plan for that, I think, is my biggest takeaway from this project. There's my references, and thanks for watching.